Okay, so here start with some place work with Sal, and you can see that he's not really offering me the behavior as quickly as he usually does. So I went ahead and got closer to the mat. I tossed treats out where it was going to be a little more easy for him. And he started doing really well. Now, I did notice that this blanket is far too slippery, and it's not really helping us get this clean behavior. So I go ahead and switch it out for this mat that has rubber on the bottom. But then we just keep going. So he's still throwing out a couple different behaviors, but he's catching back on. He's remembering. And as he starts to do better, or get the behavior most of the time, then I'm going to slowly make it harder. Of course, when we're teaching the behavior, we don't move this quickly, but since he already knows it, we're just doing that step back to give him some successes, remind him, a little bit of a refresher, and then we're going to get back to where we left off last. Okay, so once you see him kind of get back on the mat consistently when I'm asking him or using his verbal cue, I'm going to start throwing in some other things, right? So you'll see once he's on his mat here, I'm moving my feet. I'm kind of walking around a little bit to work on that duration. When I move, I don't want him following me. I want him to stay on the place until released. And that's what I'm working on when I kind of rock back and forth like that. And then here we go. Coach goes ahead and takes up some space here. That's not what we're doing. Out of there. I try to leave the dogs out for a little bit of a challenge, and sometimes they are not helpful. Okay. All right, so here he is. Again, I turn my feet. He's having a hard time with it, so I'm just going to wait him out. He gets it. I mark him and release him, and then we start over. You can't see me. I'm off the screen, but at this time, my feet are facing towards the mat to make it a little easier. So I kind of just push it as I go and see where we can work with and adapt. Okay, so the other thing to notice here, but you can't because I turned the sound off, is that I'm making sure that anytime I toss treats, before I toss them, I release him. So I say, all done, and I toss his treats out and ask him to find it. And that's really important to make this kind of a clean behavior, is that he leaves and we get him used to leaving the mat or leaving his place when released. That's going to help us have a really nice, solid, long stay on the place, right? Things like when we're eating dinner, he's going to stay, in theory, once he gets used to the behavior. He's going to stay until asked otherwise. So, and we don't want him just to be like, okay, place means go over here until I'm done, and then I can walk around. I can go back if I want. We really want him to know that place is a location to go, to lay down, and to stay there until asked to be released. So that's just something to remember, and it's just not on the video because I had to mute it. So when I'm asking him to get on place, making sure that I'm going to be releasing him when it's time to get off. But he did. Lovely. Hey, Sally. Okay, so here me and Sal are working on the same behavior, place work. Ready? Outside. We've done it with him outside, of course, before. But we still know that it's harder for him outside. So I try to make it a little easier. I stand closer to the mat when I ask him to go on it. And I am tossing treats out in front instead of to the side or behind me. And I'm just setting it up for him to be as successful as he can outside while still making it a little challenging where he has to work through it. So here I didn't put him on a long line, which is my bad. This is probably done better on a long line because you'll notice when I toss out treats, I have to go with him. But it's fine. He worked through it. He made it work. But you'll see here in a second that I try to do a little bit of duration work to see how far I can push it where it's challenging but not too challenging. And he has a hard time. And we did just see him inside. So every time I rock right here, you can see he starts to get up. I just lean back into him, put some pressure on, take another step, and I go ahead and end that part of it. And that gave me enough information that was too hard for him right there. Because we did just see him inside pretty successfully watch me rock back and forth or turn around or take a step away from the mat, and he didn't move. And out here, he does. And it makes sense, you know.
Yep.
I don't expect him to immediately get it outside just because he got it inside. But it was a good information for me to know. I went ahead and tried it and realized that that's not what we need to work on right now. Okay, so here's our work with Lydia. It does get to a point in this video where we're very small. I didn't realize that my husband didn't zoom in. But it's okay. I'll just kind of talk about what we saw. But here we are, and Lydia's up there right by my head, and here's their first sighting. And you'll notice I kind of made it into a turn. So when he saw him, he kind of bolted out in front of me, and instead of keep walking and pushing him through my legs or pulling on the leash, I went ahead and just made it into a behavior. I just went ahead and I said, yes. And as he kind of bolted in front of me, we just made it into a turn. And I went ahead and turned around. And then we stepped out into the grass, got his attention back, and we kept on going. So at the beginning here, he definitely reacted every time we saw him. There was no vocalization yet, but he definitely saw him and got very amped. And at that point, I'm marking him seeing the dog, right? Yes, as soon as his eyes lay on him, and I'm working through that engage-disengage game that we worked on. And as he gets more comfortable is when I give him 2 to 3 seconds to look, and then seeing if he pops back at me, which he did here. So let's see if we get a better shot of it. Okay, so right there you can hear him bark, vocalizing. So I went ahead and did a treat scatter to get his nose down and back working with me. And then I do sit and chat with Lydia about what we've been doing. But what we basically came down to it is giving him the time he needs to be able to choose re-engage with me. So obviously that very loud, sharp excitement barks, we're going to redirect and treat scatter. But him looking and giving a little poof, I'm going to go ahead and take for the moment. And while we were talking, the whole time I'm treating him for looking at Dewey the entire time. So this was even a good moment to let him kind of cope through his feelings. He does start to get a little more anxious because we're not really doing anything. So we go ahead and start walking him again. And as we walk right here, he has these reactions. And you can see right there, he chooses to pop back. So yes, he's kind of having that fit, but he does make the choice to pop back at me. And I went ahead and treated him for that because even though we're not 100% getting what we're wanting, we are getting the choice. The choice is there. Do I want to mark him every time he does that? No, I do want a quieter check back in, but we're going to go ahead and take it because he made the choice and he made it on his own. Okay, so here when I do my turn, we decided to hang out to the side. And you'll notice when I stopped walking, he gave me a sit. I want to make sure to be rewarding those behaviors as well. If he's offering me a sit or a down or an alternative behavior when we're out on these walks working through these, triggers, I'm going to treat him heavily for those choices. Because, while I do want him to look at a dog and check back in with me, another very acceptable choice is for him to sit down. He's giving me different behaviors, and I want to make sure that he is getting rewarded for that as well. Okay, coming up, we have a much better angle, and you can see a beautiful example of him choosing to check back in with me.
Yes. Oh my
right there. That was so great. I did not mark and treat. Lydia just popped back out of her car with her dog, so we were kind of starting over, and he did amazing.
Yes.
Look at that.
That's all we will
so
do.
Great.
Our next million.
I was so proud of him.
Yes, look at that little turn head. You're such a good boy. I'm running out of cookie. No, I'm not. They're just bundled up.
I mean, I don't really even have much to say except for look how perfect he is. And this was after working through it quite a bit. And you saw him get kind of amped.
So close.
And having a little bit of a hard time at the beginning. I still think the beginning was really, really good work too. But like, he's just kind of killing it, man. Okay, so here I am about to just make a sound sick. Ugh. Just trying to get him in the shot. Okay.
We weren't in the shot.
So here he is in his down.
Down.
We're gonna see, you know, if he can hold it down while a dog walks by. It's just another thing to offer. Just giving him different behaviors to do when in that state of mind.
No, it's recording. Is it what?
He just really, really well.
It's him. Yeah, he's in it. It's a yeah. Down. Down. Yes.
Okay, so the top of his head's not going to really be in shot here, but he sees.
Yes, good job.
And he continues to do that.
He has good things to say to his mom.
Good job.
Yes, good job.
And then in a second here, Lydia's going to go ahead and cross the street and be on our side.
Yes, good job. Yeah, right now, apparently.
We're gonna.
Yeah. All right.
We're gonna change it up. Keep him going.
Okay.
Treat still.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna cross this.
Down. Okay, should he be in a down or just kind of?
Okay, so I didn't notice this initially, but when I watched the video, you'll see
Yeah.
he looked at Dewey and then looked back at me.
Yeah.
I'm actually not paying attention right away. I didn't get to treat him right away, and he just waited for me, and I am so proud of that, and I'm just now seeing that. Okay, there you can see Lydia at the top left corner, and Sal sees them too.
Yes.
And
Oh
he's
my
still
goodness,
able to
you're such a
disengage
good
on his
doggy.
own at this
You're
point,
doing so good.
and just being a rock star. In a minute, you know, as they get closer, you'll see him kind of amp up a little bit more, but he's still making some really good choices
Oh my
and to
God,
point
you're
out.
killing it.
So he's still able
Reactive.
to engage with me.
Cool.
And then right here, he's
So
gonna
proud of you
pop
right
up
now.
and give us a little bit of a
Oh,
bark.
no, that's okay. That's okay.
I make sure to give him some treats once he's looking at me.
You can make it.
And he goes ahead and chooses
I
this
know,
down
yes,
again,
There you go.
which he got lots of
That
cookies
was
for. I did not
pretty.
ask for
Yeah,
that
there you
down.
go.
And he chose to go back into it, which was
You can
amazing.
like almost see him.
And right there you can kind of
before
see
he
him
barks.
air
You can, like,
scenting a little
see
bit,
him
sniffing
bark.
the air from too.
I know.
Smell him. You can, and
Yes,
you know,
thank
you
you.
also
That was
see it in his
nice.
body. He's getting a little more amped up, but he is still working his hardest through this, and I'm very proud of him.
Waited too long. I know.
Okay, so Lydia just goes ahead and tells me that there is another dog, and I see him. This is also when I run out of treats, so we go ahead and end it here. And this is a good point to end it because, you know, you can see he's getting a little hyped up. There's another dog
I'm out.
around. So we kind of shut it down. He did really, really well, and I'm really, really proud of him.
You can lick my hand. I'm out treats. I'm gonna grab some.